This is the age of the multidimensional self.
Hello there, it's Kelly here from Divine Alchemy Healing, and today I'm delighted to welcome on another guest for our interview series. And today we've got Joanne Huntsman. And hello, Jo, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you, Kelly. Very well. How are you?
Yeah, well, we've already had a little pre-chat before the record, so I have got a virus, but I'm kicking it in every way possible with lots of onion and garlic and all sorts of herbal remedies and pendulum work and everything else that I can think of. So, could you tell us how you first got into working with a pendulum as a starting point, and let's go from there.
Yeah, yes, happily. So it was a bit of a sideways move.
Yeah.
So Pendulum wasn't the first connection that I made. I trained as a health kinesiologist
Wow.
about 16 years ago. So muscle testing was my initial way in to connecting to wisdom of the body and the spirit. And I then discovered eventually to the guides as well. But when we learned it, it was very much about asking the body what it needed to heal. And that was kind of my point of entry. And I'd been doing that for a little while, and I realized that actually what we were doing, or certainly what I was doing, was dowsing, although that wasn't the official version that we learned. In fact, I think we were told that we weren't, but we definitely were. And so I thought I would start to try and work with other instruments as well. So since then, I have worked with um, pendulum and rods. Pendulum more so, rods I'm a bit wayward with. Uh, and so I have used pendulum dowsing to some extent, but I'm not as quick as I am with that. So I quite often revert to my muzzle testing.
Yeah.
And I have since then come across Eric Hunter's books and included Pendulum Healing and Pendulum Alchemy. So it's another wonderful tool to have in the this repertoire of energy work that we can do. And I've become quite hooked on pendulums themselves. They're just such beautiful instruments, aren't they?
Yeah, really. And we were saying earlier, we've both got pendulums from Anita Peggy,
We have.
who we interviewed quite a while back now, actually. But definitely worth checking out that interview if you haven't watched it, because she really does make some, with her husband, some beautiful pieces, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, really, really beautiful. So very lucky to have that to work with,
Yeah.
and they actually link in because they each have an archetype.
Yes, that's right.
So this one, I've got another one that is a craftsman or
Right.
craftsperson, and this is a healer.
Ah,
So beautiful.
I think this one's a guide, if I remember right.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all got the ones we need, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So then, once you'd started using the pendulum, what led you? Because Joanne has written a beautiful book called Archetypal Alchemy, which I'm very lucky to have a copy of. We will put all the details up of where you can get this as well. What led you to writing this book?
Well, it was very much through that connection that I made, both through muscle testing and using pendulum to my intuition and to be able to strengthen that connection to my wiser self and wider self. And eventually one day very tentatively asked, do I have a guide?
Right.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And since that moment, really, my world has expanded really quite extraordinarily.
Yeah.
It was a very momentous connection for me to feel that there was somebody there to be in my corner and to shape my path.
Yeah.
So I've leaned in quite heavily into that and asked, which books to read, which people to listen to, which people to learn from, and I have really been given a path by doing that. Um, and then at various stages, guides for different work have come in, and so I worked with Saint Augustine on a previous book, who who channeled some extraordinary symbols for me, these energy medicine symbols, which was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And that was something that I could give to clients to use between sessions.
Yeah.
They were a really very straightforward way of working.
Yeah.
And that the system within it, you didn't need to use pendulum for or muscle test. You could use intuition and be guided which ones to use. So that expanded to Saint Augustine. And then I was sitting one day and was getting a push for something, which I always respond to, and it usually means go and clear an entity or do something needs shifting, or I need to do some work. And it was a new guide coming in on this occasion. And the guide in question was my father, who I lost when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
And I was so excited and said, how fantastic, how to be connected to you. And, what is it? Is this about sort of healing our relationship? And it was instantly, no, we've got work to do. And I was so miffed. I was expecting us kind of reunion moment and maybe the odd apology. And it was just like, nope, we're not doing that, kid. We've got work to do. So I sort of reverted to a really stroppy teenager and thought, I don't know if I want to work with him anyway.
Right.
And having anyway on it made me know that I was functioning at about the level of my 14-year-old self. And went to bed. And then I don't know whether I dreamt or what, but sort of woke up the next morning and thought, how fantastic, what a wonderful opportunity. And I was also struggling because his father name was Edwin and he was known as Ted. So I couldn't cope with this idea of having a guy called Father Ted. It just was not going to work for me. So I asked him his name, and he was now working under the name of Gemil.
Right.
His names change, as we've now discovered through various experiences I've had. And so that was fine. We can go forward. And the archetype work came through him.
Right.
And as I knew him, he was an engineer, and that's been fantastic for the book because it is quite it's quite structured the way you work. The pieces come in and you put them together, and that creates the whole. And that element of construction kind of just seemed to resonate with my remembrance of him.
It's really nice
and
that you spaced it out as well. Like the way you've written it and put it all out, it's lovely because that, especially for me, because I'm partially sighted, to be able to actually just read it with not tons and tons of really little text. And then, so yeah, it's really well done.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I do test everything though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty dependent because it just makes sense to me. Why get something wrong when we've got all this help available to us to say, no, it will be better for people if, and it is part book, part manual, really. It's not even, and to work as a manual, you need that space around it, don't you? And I had the previous book had been designed for me by a guy in America who must have been heaven sent because I was tying myself in knots trying to design it. And this extraordinary man just did it for very little money and almost as an act of love. So I learned from him, and it was him that first put a lot of space around things in the previous book. And I think that really guided me, and I think was a helpful way forward. So it kind of looks like this.
Yes.
But it's not packed. There's plenty of space.
If you hold it up a bit more so the camera will be able to catch it. There we go. And that's the symbol book. Yeah. And I'm holding up bits of the archetypes on the archetype book.
Profile.
Yeah.
Have you done your profile?
I started doing it last week actually because as I said, I've done some archetype work with Caroline Mace, so I sort of have a basic understanding and know my own archetype.
Brilliant.
What I didn't do, which was a silly thing, but I realise now that I was unwell, which is probably why I wasn't thinking straight, was I didn't start writing them down. Because one, I didn't like, I don't want to write in the book. So I should have got my notepad. But when I started reading it initially, I didn't realize I was going to be going into it straight away, you know. But I got as far as doing the archetypes, and then I was looking at them after I'd done that. I read your bit that said check and see whether it's in the A to N bit or the next N to Z bit. So I went through the whole thing one by one.
Well, that's why I've provided that sheet now, because I realized in the book you really do need a much more dowsable piece of material, because that's fine to go into to look at what each one means or might mean for you. But I think having that sheet, and of course it's there's 100 plus archetypes.
Yeah.
You would present it as a very beautiful pendulum chart, I'm sure, but I'm lists. So the most I can manage is a list.
I don't know.
But I've broken it down.
Yeah. I don't even think Frog could put that in a pendulum chart, to be honest with that.
I wouldn't mind maybe one or two. It would be.
It'd have to be a big. We've got the mini chart for the 4 archetypes that Caroline Mace teaches, that everyone's got the victim, child, saboteur, and prostitute archetype in one of our books. But to fit that many archetypes in a chart you'd have to have
a bit tricky. I'm aware that it's not aesthetically quite as lovely, but as long as it's functional. Yes, that's it. And it's interesting because it is, I don't quite know how it works, but energetically it is quite different to Caroline's work.
See that.
I came to her work at some stage when I was directed that way, with sacred contracts and archetypes particularly. And I've always been slightly aware and initially quite nervous that they weren't exactly the same as Caroline Mice taught. But I was given some really clear guidance about that, which I've had a few times since, which is this tool, this method is your method.
Yeah.
It's designed for you in this time to be helpful to people at this time in their way.
I was feels more.
It's almost it's very accessible. It's simpler, I think, than Caroline teaches. And because I was so unintuitive when I first started, I think quite a few of my tools come in at beginner's level, at almost point of entry. And you can then use them in a very sophisticated way if you want to eventually. But the specific reason I was given them was for discernment. At that stage in my life, I was a sucker, an absolute sucker for what anybody wanted to tell me. I've got magical child as one of my archetypes, which is generally positive. You go through seeing the best in everybody, and the best of all possible circumstances will come out. But also the shadow side of that is that you can be taken for a ride by anyone, and I was quite regularly. And so this tool came in as a method of discernment, particularly for me, but the instruction was very clearly make it for other people as well, because being able to sift good from bad, right from wrong, beneficial and detrimental is such a baseline, particularly if you're on a spiritual journey. One wrong turning can just send you off on such a rotten road, and it can dispirit you, and you think, well, this is all nonsense anyway. What was I doing? And so it really was a lifeline that was being thrown out to me. And I feel that the way showers, as I understand them, the guides, the ascended masters, are throwing us lifelines like crazy at the moment. I just think they know how tough it is. They know that we're going to have all the help we can get. And we're given one after another, and some probably whistle past our heads on a daily basis, and we don't even know what's been thrown to us. But I really feel very, very much that we are being really taken care of on every level that they can find for us. Absolutely. And so the archetypes came about with that.
Wonderful. And just going back to what you were saying about discernment and that's oh, the boundary thing as well is it feels like it's very interesting in the spiritual world because there's a lot of people that really don't have any discernment. And so that feels like such an important thing to learn about. And maybe for some people it is a learning journey, isn't it? That they learn quite quickly. Oh, yeah, not everyone's going to be speaking maybe my truth or the truth. But it definitely, there's always been that fine line between, I call it spiritual madness, where you've forgotten still need one foot on the earth as well, don't you? Or both on the earth, I should say, really, to be able to discern well. So it's really interesting.
It has been a fantastic game changer for me, really. And this is quite a long time ago that the work started. It was a long time in the writing, and my chaotic journey was sort of 15 years ago. And actually, I think things have changed a little bit more now. I think it's probably possible to tell maybe whether people are sincere or not, or people don't always know themselves, do they? A lot of people are doing things for the best reasons, but are actually doing it because of a shadow need, a wound, or whatever's going on there. So it was great. I was offered this fantastic tool. And so the writing process began, which I really enjoyed. I've got storyteller in I should tell you my archetypes, really.
Yeah.
Because I use archetypes all the time now. If I'm going to work with somebody, whether they're going to come and fix something on the house or I'm going to learn something from them or whatever, I usually do a quick archetypal profile. And some of them just surrogate. No, we won't be doing that. And so my archetypes are healer, rebel, hermit, mystic, storyteller, clown, magical child.
Wow.
So I've got storyteller in there. So I do enjoy writing.
Yeah.
I've got hermit in there, which means I'm happy to sit for as long as it takes to do that.
Yeah.
And actually, we have got quite a few crossovers in ours, I notice.
Yeah.
But you're definitely, from your profile, in the right job. I can definitely say that you and Frog are definitely in the right place.
Yeah.
Interestingly, for people who do energy healing, then you normally ask for permission. And I have double checked this a few times. You don't need to ask permission to do somebody's profile.
No.
You do have to ask permission to do the alchemy, which is when you rebalance somebody's archetypal profile because something might have got out of balance, in the same way as maybe the chakras would. Maybe because of the times we live in, it hasn't been possible for you to open up as being a mystic or a healer, and they might be sitting quietly in the corner and have become quite shrunken. But you can, through pendulum healing, bring them back into balance and bring them back in to more prominence in your profile. And there might be something there that is more troublesome to you, and that can be reduced a little bit. But working with them, you would definitely ask permission before you start meddling with them. But to do a profile of somebody, then
I'm just imagining someone going from being very strongly in one archetype to suddenly discovering this complete new personality.
It's quite useful, yeah.
And I think it's interesting, isn't it, how they all have a time. Sometimes one definitely does come out more, and other ones sort of, take a back seat, so to speak, to allow that creativity or whatever it is of that archetype to come through.
Or because the environment that you're in is risky to you in some way, or just not as slightly oppressive, or like everything, it's a dynamic picture, isn't it? They're moving around all the time, and I think they're right on the very edge of the energy field.
And
I kind of think of them like a stained glass window.
Wow.
So that everything that comes in is coming through their vibration, and everything that you send out is going through their vibration as well. So they do play a huge part in how we behave and how we receive things and what we do.
And I imagine
and the alchemy,
dress, things like that as well. And
yeah, I think so.
yeah,
And like, there's a whole area where you can be quite playful. Once you know your profile, you can think, well, I'm going to try. Not only am I going to use a pendulum to bring that up, but
yeah,
I'm going to maybe dress in a particular way for a while. And it is like having, you know, as we incarnate, we select these archetypes with guidance, as far as is available to us. And I think that is somewhat qualified. I think depending how far along the spiritual journey your soul is, certain things are available to you.
yeah,
But to fulfill your soul contract, then these qualities are selected, or maybe chosen as obstacles this time. You might have a particular task, but you're going to really find out how you manage this particular task with almost the wrong archetypes. You know, it's all part of an extraordinary learning process, isn't it?
yeah,
But I do think of it almost as a giant dressing up box, which is huge fun. Well, this time I'm going to be this, and I love the way children will select wonderful sort of mismatched things. They've got their Viking helmet and their princess dress, and I like that idea.
yeah.
So it
It's
appeals.
really interesting, isn't it? I know I've got, or it's probably not as prominent anymore as it was maybe 10 years ago, but I had a strong exorcist archetype, which I wasn't that happy to find out, even though I'd been doing entity clearing for years in quite a profound way. But also, Spirit said to me, it's not just about entity clearing, it's about releasing negative energies for people. And that is what you do, or transmuting, you know. And
Yeah.
the funny thing that they pointed out to me was because I was in a lovely spiritual group where everyone was primarily healer archetype, so they're all floaty dresses, and then there's me looming about in a cape if possible. And I always felt like it's really I hadn't understood what was going on in the group in terms of my role in it, but also why I was so different to everybody else, really. And it was just because I was in more of although I do have some healer archetype in me, I was definitely more in my exorcist era, as I call it.
Yeah. And very useful, I might add.
Yeah.
Very useful.
Now I'm fine with it, but I remember at first I was like, oh God, am I ever going to escape this role? You know?
Yeah, couldn't I have chosen something slightly more fluffy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's,
we need it.
it definitely has become more about the work I do with the pendulum in releasing and transmuting and all of that side of things, but then increasing, good energies to help us. So it's not as intense as it used to be. But I feel like I did have to go through that, and it was part of my journey to get to where I am now. So, it's
and to know what is out there.
Yeah.
And what might be needed sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That isn't, yes. Know the darker stuff and expect the light. It's good.
Yeah. And I love that bit in your book actually about reordering your archetypes. Because again, like if you are in a bit of an uncomfortable place and you've seen what your other archetypes are, being able to draw them forward or bring them forward a little bit is really helpful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And just general maintenance. It's like balancing chakras and clearing them. And we could do that today as part of the our class, maybe, because you don't need to know what they are, but we can still optimize them and harmonize them with our beautiful pendulum.
I'm up for it.
Well, it's something, whoever's going to watch it in the future will have the benefit of that. So
That's right.
even before knowing what they are. When I knew we were going to chat, I've done a couple of profiles for people to have an example of. So just so that people can experience how how usually quite how clear these little sketches of people,
Yeah.
actually very deep portraits, but how they can how clear they can be. So I've picked a few people from the news.
Yeah.
And
Was really interesting.
start by guessing who this is. So it's somebody who is, I think they're in the order of prominence as well as I did it. I think I asked. So this person is firstly a bully, second the orphan child, third a fool, fourth a hedonist, five a vampire, six a monarch, and seven a martyr.
Well, the monarch bit threw me because I had someone in mind.
Yeah,
But then
it threw me as well.
and then a martyr was the last one. Okay, I mean, I feel a bit bad saying this, but like I felt straight away like we're talking about a politician potentially.
Kind of. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's Prince Andrew.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense as well. I think my mind had gone on to King Karma, because a lot of those fit him as well in some ways. I wouldn't say hedonist,
Yes.
Or monarch, but yeah, the other ones. Yeah, that's really
But
interesting.
the rest, once you look at them, you can almost see his history in there, and the fact that the irony of him having martyr in his profile, but actually he's always saying, "I'm doing this for the good of everybody else," but actually it's the one that he should probably be focusing on.
I mean, we actually saw a clip about him last night. We were watching something on YouTube, and I said, "Look at his energy! Like even I know as we get older, our skin changes and everything, but he's carrying this energy of, and I feel like he's living out his own karma, isn't he, in some ways, because it's starting to show physically as well as energetically.
He's grey, isn't he? Yeah.
And his skin is, it almost, I said, oh, it almost looks like he's alcoholic in the way his skin has gone. I don't know whether, whether he is or not.
To relieve this from some, I mean, I wonder if there is some sort of symbolic role that he has. He's taking so much of the wrongdoing of the British monarchy for so many generations, and it's almost landed on his head.
Yeah, because he was
but yeah, it was an interesting one to do.
And it's he was the golden child really when he was younger, wasn't he? I mean, I'm 53,
yes.
so I sort of remember him being seen as the sort of quite glamorous prince, doing a bit jet setting.
But ironically, he's an orphan child.
Yeah.
Because the system that they grew up under, even though when he had contact with his parents, he was spoiled, he was put with nannies and boarding schools and other institutions. So it doesn't matter how much of a favourite you are when really you're sidelined in that way. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, really.
This is a bit political, this one is.
Okay.
Number one, bully, coward, wounded child, crook, dictator, dreamer, and innovator.
Hang on. Wounded child, crook. What was the other one?
Bully, coward, wounded child, crook, dictator, dreamer, innovation.
How many politicians do I need to rule out here?
Well, just go for the biggest one you can think of at the moment. I haven't been very subtle.
Are they English or
No.
Are they American?
Right. So
I think you're thinking of Donald Trump.
I think that, yes.
I think you're thinking, I'm trying to be really careful.
This is a game everybody can play at Christmas now, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah,
really, that's a really good idea.
Really upset Auntie Margaret by saying, no, this is you.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, for Trump.
Because I mean, again, I feel like we should be clear. The archetypes are quite neutral, really, aren't they? In themselves, they've all got some good sides and some negative sides, so to speak. But obviously, certain sides, can come. Like it's if you're feeling in a place of vulnerability, and you've got, say, bully in your archetype, it's almost likely to bring out more of what we would call a traditional bully energy. But bully and coward do they go hand in hand, do you think? Or
Almost, don't they?
yeah,
I think it's a fairly classic combo. But
yeah,
Andrew had bully, but he didn't
yeah.
have
No, he did.
coward in it, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he, again, a wounded child is in there.
yeah.
Yeah, so, but they're interesting to look at.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a few more. I can always post them and we can let people work them out themselves.
Yeah, I'd love that. It does feel like such a game
But
to
there is,
play.
yes, 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 it is. The alchemy side of the book is, so when you're actually working with you can occasionally come across a blocked archetype. So you go through finding your 7 and you could come across 6 or 5.
Yeah,
I don't think I've come across 5, but I have, and they really are blocked for various reasons because of the circumstances that you've been born into normally, or they can be from shock. If there's been an extreme shock, some aspect has just frozen, and or you become disassociated from, and so they can be freed up again with the process. There's also this wonderful opportunity to draw in archetypes. And if you're an essence maker, you could make, if you're in need of something, you could make yourself an essence. I've worked with some young women who have really sort of put themselves down the pecking order too much and are looking after a lot of people, and they're kind of forgetting what they need to be looked after. And Princess is really useful for that, to make yourself a princess spray.
yeah,
Is a really uplifting thing to do, and it will just help you not become entitled, but to know what you need in a situation, as well as serving other people. So when I knew I was doing this today, I called in, I asked what was the most useful archetypes that were either in my profile or available, and they were herald and guide. So herald is supposed to announce aspects of things, and the role of guide to pass it on to other people. So it's an extraordinary resource, but because these little pots of energy are everywhere, within the Akashic field, they're available to us to support us in difficult times, and to be able to use those is another resource that we can give ourselves and our animals. We can very much use it for, and to get to know our animals. Did you read that terrible profile of our puppy? I was very embarrassed about it. Our lovely dog had Mouse, she's called, had this litter of puppies last year.
Right.
It was an absolute scamp, this one. That she had. Well, they were all absolute scamps, but I don't think I can find it quickly enough to tell you what they were. But they were, suffice to say, quite challenging, and they have been quite challenging. From what I could say, I had to come off the WhatsApp group of all the puppy owners because they were all being so naughty. But this one we kind of knew she was. But I can't find it now. It's in the book.
I mean, this is just a thought that came in just as you were talking, was occasionally when I'm working with ladies who want to have a baby, the soul will come into the session. And recently I've been talking to this lovely lady. She's sort of making a choice whether to have a third baby or not, and this soul keeps coming in, and oh my goodness, it's got such a strong, cheeky, light-hearted energy, but feels like really wise with it, but just like nothing bothers it. And it made me think, oh, that'd be really interesting to see if I could get the archetypes for this soul coming
in.
Yeah.
I was able to do my grandson in utero, which was wonderful. Really get to do his little soul before he arrived. So you could very much.
That's really interesting, because I've worked with several people where the unborn child has come in or the soul has come in. And generally, it's always this just real overwhelming feeling of love coming in. But this one, it just feels like they've got such a distinct personality, and the visuals I'm getting is it's tumbling around and it's just having great fun about everything, and it's like lighten up, you know?
Wow.
And it's really
Oh.
and it just feels like it's got a really distinct personality showing to us already, you know, but also this wisdom with
As
it.
if to say, who would want to be with me? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lovely idea that could be involved. Yeah.
I mean, I think this book, you know, it's got so much in it, hasn't it, of ways you can use archetypes.
Yes, and if you're already a healer, then or you're on a spiritual path, you'll find different ways to use it in your sessions, either making essences or just placement of a particular archetype.
Tell everyone where they can get this book from while we're thinking about it, and I will put it in the description as well.
Just to email me is best, because I'm trying not to use Amazon for this one. The
Sure.
previous book is on Amazon. That's about I'm just looking at the images and realizing they're all archetypes. I've been doing this for a while. So yes, email me and I'll happily post something out. Which
we'll put Joe's email in the description.
Yeah.
And of course,
Well, I mean, while we're talking about it, we ought to mention the archetypes of place, because that's really useful.
Yeah.
Anybody who does house clearing or energy clearing, or if you want to know what the energy of your house or your village or your place of work is, because people have a feeling about a place.
Yeah.
Unless you've done the whole geomancy training, of which there are many and some great ones, this is quite a good way in. I've had a client recently who has been struggling to shift a particular set of symptoms, and we would clear them and they come back and come back. And we eventually looked at the environment that she was in. Probably should have done it earlier, but we did look. And the thing that came up was, I'm trying to remember what it was, consecrated land. Consecrated land came up. I thought, oh, couldn't it have been something a bit more straightforward? Because I then had to say, do you think you might have some consecrated land near you? We obviously have, but unless somebody's particularly familiar with this type of work, they kind of would roll their eyes at that point.
Yeah.
And she went, oh yes, yes, dear, we've got a Roman burial site on the garden.
Oh my goodness.
so oh, thank you. That's really good confirmation. Thank you. But sometimes when things come in and you think, is this really what we're going to go with? And it was. So that was great. But yeah, there's lots of different energies that are really enjoyable, again, to work with and to explore with. And if you're somebody lucky enough to be able to use dowsing rods, then you can find all sorts of different features. And also key places.
Are the archetypes in the book for the
page 89 onwards. There's just a smaller section on there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really like that. Because also you could say certain towns, like we know Brighton in the UK, for instance, everyone sort of knows, like, oh yeah, Brighton, it's a bit of a mix of light and dark, and it's this and it's that. And Glastonbury is another place that a lot of people will know of, won't they? Which is interesting in terms of like larger places. Do you feel, is that something you've ever done work with, or?
I don't think I've worked with a large large place. I probably would if I was thinking of moving to it.
Yeah.
But I've done more either offices or homes that I've been healing.
Yeah.
And things have come up, and even footings have have a role. The brickwork that you don't know has been taken from an old mortuary and used to put in the footings of a 1950s terrace, and we've found extraordinary amounts of things. But then with pendulum healing, you can clear that and bless it and bring in light and let anything that's trapped with it move on. But you know, things have been recycled so many times, haven't they? In this quite small island, things have been repurposed. And I had an interesting little journey with. Do you know Adrian Incledon Weber, who teaches home healing?
Oh,
He has a very good book,
yeah, I
Heal
think
Your
I've
Home
seen this
Too, I
book,
think it
but I
is.
don't know him personally or anything. Yeah,
Yeah, he does lots of workshops.
yeah,
He's a really good teacher. One of the things on his checklist was a power artifact, I think it comes under.
right.
And when I was clearing my house or other people's house, power artifacts used to come up quite often.
Mm.
And they would generally be something that you'd inherited and had been in somebody's gloomy house, or something that had absorbed emotion in somebody else's place, or pieces of jewelry might need clearing, a mirror, famously, they quite often do, pictures. They've witnessed and absorbed so many things. And I would go and find a bargain in a shop and bring my little wooden Buddha home, completely forget to clear it until I was doing some other work, and I'd be tapped on the shoulder. And so the power artifact used to be this. And then it kind of shifted, and quite a few new objects were power artifacts.
Right.
And I learned that from this list, because I bought an egg timer from Amazon.
Yeah,
And it wasn't Amazon, it was a little local, fairly cheap store.
yeah,
And I said, well, you know, what can this be holding? And the only thing I could think of asking was, what environment was it made in? And it was made in a home. I thought, oh, how very odd.
yeah,
Where is it made? In China? Is this the sort of place where they would drop off all the components and somebody had to make things and then they would come and pick them up again? I was trying to envisage where this was. Didn't feel right. So then I checked what was the nature of this home, and it was a psychiatric hospital.
oh,
So people were being forced to work.
yeah,
And the similar thing has come up in prison. So unfortunately, this sort of mass manufacture of things in China and other regimes, I'm sure. So prisons, hospitals, psychiatric units are all places of people being put to work.
yeah, yeah,
So these are the things that are coming up as power objects now, which, or power artifacts, I should say now. But it means that you can clear the artifact that you have here, and then you can clear the timeline and the person and the environment that it's in. So you can use
you're
it
right
as
there.
a portal to do some work, yes. But it was quite a marked shift, probably, yeah, only about a year ago that I suddenly noticed that this pattern was changing from Auntie Mary's dodgy cutlery set to now this rather darker
Yeah,
source of energy
gosh,
that we become entangled with when we buy it and use it,
yeah.
unfortunately.
It's fascinating. My first flat I ever lived in, which was a tiny flat above a shop in Godalming, had beams in the flat that had come from one of Henry VIII's ships, because we're sort of not
You've
that.
frozen, Kay.
Oh, am I back? Is it back?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, viewers, might have had a little break in internet connection there, but oh yeah, it's saying my internet connection is unstable. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did well up until that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had these beams in this flat that had come from one of Henry VIII's ships, and had been repurposed. And so it was a tiny little flat above a jewelry shop, but there were times in that flat I felt so uncomfortable. I'd literally just grab all my stuff and run down to see my friend who worked in a pub down the road and just wait with her, because she lived with me, until she finished her shift. And we had a psychic look at it who said it was a sailor, but she said, don't worry, he's going on leave soon. But at the time I really didn't know anything. I could feel energy, but I didn't know what I was doing at all. I was only 20. So yeah, but it's interesting that you bring that up about these objects, because I sort of think, yeah, if I'd known what I know now, then things would have probably been
Yes.
easier.
Yeah, you could have resolved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you don't know, no, you don't. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you don't know until you know, do you? At the end of the day.
No, no, and then you have that wonderful moment of, oh, and then the next one is, oh gosh, if that's true, what else is true?
Yeah,
It's always part of the journey. Yeah. And I hope that's what comes across, is having started in a very non-intuitive place, very, very numb, and unable to discern. By growing my intuition and having that healed, the books have been birthed from that.
yeah,
And that's that's my path, but everybody else is on a path where they will be contributing something else, whether it's an essence or
yeah,
a group of words that they will say to somebody, or a piece of land that they will tend. And I think that individuality of path is really, really important. It's been stressed a lot to me this summer, where I've been on retreat in Wales, that we each of us have a song that we have to find, and then we have to learn to sing it alongside other people and not get dragged into theirs, and even better, be able to harmonize, with theirs. But that
yeah,
individual path is important.
yeah. Yeah, everybody's path is sacred in its own right, really, isn't it? Even
Yeah.
if we look at it and think, I don't really like that path, and it's their learning, not ours, isn't it?
Yes, and that's good. I think my unhealthy version was like, oh, I'll try everybody else's. Like some sort of slightly wacky dog running around. But yeah, learning that has been a
Yeah,
good anchor for me.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And even with these politicians and people in thing, Spirit always remind me that they're living a life that to us might look one thing, but actually it's creating change in some way that wouldn't have been created if this wasn't happening, so try not to get too caught into, disliking it
No,
too much or that sort of energy
no,
because
it's just observing them,
yeah,
and seeing. You don't want them to be entangled with them in any particular
no.
way.
Yeah,
But yes, I mean, they made a sacred contract to come and do this work that they're doing,
yeah,
which looks very odd to the people who
yes,
only try and make people's lives lighter and healthier and brighter. But
yeah,
they are doing that as well. Hard to recognize, but yeah, it
yeah.
is.
They cover it
Yeah,
well.
yeah, they're doing it really well. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I wonder, like, it's almost like they've got going back into archetypes. They've got
Oh, we lost you again, Kelly.
oh, we're breaking up a little bit,
You're
aren't
back.
we? Okay.
Yeah, we are.
I wonder if actor comes anywhere within their sort of general. I know you've got the main archetypes sort of here, but I wonder if they're borrowing actor as an archetype sometimes when they're performing
They might do.
roles. Yeah.
Tony Blair has actor as his primary one.
Right, that doesn't surprise
Sorry,
me.
I spoke over you, but Tony Blair has actor as number one.
Right.
Um, and looking at his profile showed me there is a phenomenon where I think it's probably people in power this happens to, where one of their archetypes can be hijacked by demon energy,
Yeah, yeah,
which kind of knocked me for six, really, because I'm still being magical child and thinking everything in the world is wonderful. But he has got that in his profile.
yeah.
And I'm not sure whether that was originally there. I have a feeling it wasn't. But I think once he became in a position of power, it was a way that darker energies could bring corruption in. I don't think it's going to happen further down the food chain, I'm hoping. But it was a phenomenon that I came across with him. And I have found it in one other quite surprising politician that it was there as well.
Right. Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting. Frog and I watch a lot of cult documentaries because we're fascinated by the psychology of these people that set up cults. And it feels like something in like because they always seem to start with really good intention. Can you hear me all right?
yeah, good.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, as they build their community, it's like the power comes in and something
I've
corrupt.
lost you now.
Oh, something corrupts them from being.
No, you've frozen,
Oh,
Kelly.
hang on a minute. Let's see if I can check what's going on here.
Yep, you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, I was saying with cults, sometimes they all start with very good intentions, and often, and then as they gather their communities and the power starts to grow for them, something corrupts it and it almost like turns about side. And I've often wondered whether that amount of energy is doing something. Either it's allowing entities or that sort of energy to come in, or it's corrupting an original archetype to, take it to now, instead of us meditating and all being loving, we're going to put in all this control and everybody's got to do this and say that, and they've all got to do whatever the leader says. So it's interesting because I feel the same a politician.
Yes, because so many people come into it for quite noble reasons, and then something goes wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think there is, but I also think there is a kind of tipping point with many things. Organizations, I've come across it in two healing modalities where it was all wonderful and inclusive, and then suddenly it flips and it becomes all about rules and money, and there's a period of growth. It's in nature. If you're not growing and expanding and raising consciousness, the minute you stop and things become fixed, then I think the corruption then has a way of entering the biofield of whatever it is, either an individual or an organization. Because nothing is designed to be fixed, is it? And to stay still. We have to have flow, otherwise everything is either living or dying, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So quite possibly. So yeah, I mean, you can tell by analyzing it using archetypes and levels of consciousness, such as David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. Yes.
Do you want
take a slide down?
Show us, because you said earlier that we could maybe do an exercise let's do something. And so anyone watching, if they want to either grab a pendulum, join in, they can, or they can just watch and absorb, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
That'd be great.
So let's just bring ourselves into the present moment and focus on this idea of a profile of 7 archetypes. And we acknowledge that some of them will be stronger and some will take a back seat at various times. Some might have been quashed, some might have been overblown, like the one we looked at with a bully. Perhaps people have had to be defensive or self-protective. So whatever state they're in now is the state they meant to be in. But while we're here together, let's just optimize and harmonize them. So we call on the guides to optimize all 7 archetypes. Bring them to the ideal level of energy, individually and collectively. Harmonize one with another. Remove any energetic clashes between archetypes that may exist or have existed in the past. Any places where a particular archetype rubs up against another one. Order them, energize and harmonize them to be most beneficial to each one of us and the collective at this time and stage in our life and development. Can we see when that's done?
Yeah, it's just
Thank you, Joanne. Lovely.
lovely. I love that.
Yeah,
It'll be
I'm
interesting,
glad you remembered.
yeah, to see how things pan out.
Yeah, let's hear from anybody if they get a tingle. That's good.
Yeah, and if you,
Lovely. Well, thank you for having me.
oh, it's a pleasure.
Sorry.
Absolute pleasure. The chesty coughs coming in.
Blues. Yeah. I hope you're soon fully well.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. If anyone's got any questions for Joanne, obviously we're going to put the email, and you've got a Facebook page as well, haven't you? The Intuition
Yeah.
Repair Cafe. Is that right?
That's right.
I've just joined actually yesterday, so which you can join and obviously ask your questions there, but you can also drop anything in the comments, because you can keep an eye on the comments, can't you, when
Yeah,
we're
sure.
video
Yeah.
and answer anyone, because it's such a wide subject and so fascinating in so many ways, and it's been really lovely to talk to you, and because I did my sort of training in it years and years ago, it's sort of gone out of my focus consciousness really.
Yeah.
So having this book and talking to you has brought it back in as a really valid way of working. And yeah, lots of exciting. I'm so into the animal side of things as well. I'm like, ooh, I want to check the animal archetype. So, but yeah, please do get in contact with Jo if you're wanting to get a copy of this book. How much is this book, Jo?
The book's £10, and then I put a couple of pounds on for post and packaging, so probably about 12. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for anything better for your money, basically. So
hopefully not. The important thing is to get it out there, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's got so much in it, and again, it's a nice book to read, really well spaced, ring bound, which you'll know with Divine Alchemy Healing, we like our ring bound books.
Yes,
much easier to work with. And yeah, and we're also going to drop a document, aren't we, in our description of.
Yeah, I'll do a list of the list of archetypes, just so people can start playing with it themselves.
Yeah.
And get the hang of it, and then just an exploration, isn't it? Yeah.
So we'll put that in the description under the video for anyone who wants to have a look. And yeah, if you want to contact Jo, drop something in the comments or send her an email. And it's been so lovely to speak to you, Jo. Thank you so much for giving up your time on a Sunday. And we will look forward to speaking.
Absolute pleasure. I look forward to it. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Please give us a like on the video, give us a subscribe if you haven't already, and do drop us a comment and let us know if you've got any questions about archetypes. I was going to say alchemy then, but archetypes. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Pendulum